Because though that you want to have a long-term goal and you need it to be ambitious, the challenge can be, I want to achieve this next week. And it might be very unrealistic. It's like if I said to you, okay, you want to lose 2 stone in a week. It's ambitious, but is it realistic?
Welcome to Dear Business Coach, the podcast. My name's Elizabeth, coming to you from the Walker Consulting Works studio. Find one thing to move your business forward today. With conversations, spotlights, interviews, articles, and free resources. Listen, follow, and subscribe on social media. Dear Business Coach Podcast. We're on Facebook, LinkedIn, Instagram, YouTube. And don't forget Spotify, Apple, iHeartRadio, and anywhere you listen to podcasts. All it takes sometimes is one little thing to move your business forward today. My guest today is John Bryant, the online human mechanic for business owners wanting to improve their body image, self-esteem, and energy through a client-centered approach to fit their busy lifestyles. John says he's on a mission to empower entrepreneurs like you to thrive in both business and life. As a seasoned business owner myself, he says, I understand the challenges you face in juggling the demands of your ventures and personal well-being. Okay, John. Well, thank you and welcome to Dear Business Coach. And we have some exciting things to talk about today. And we want to talk about boundaries. And
Yes.
so I agree with you, and we want to keep things a little flexible so that we give ourselves room to make adjustments. But what if you have to start some rules for yourself so that you can create a structure to follow that helps you? And then you also have to communicate what you're doing with people you live with and folks that you're close with at work, because now we're changing our daily habits. How do we do
Okay.
that?
So I'll split that into two because that is essentially almost two questions.
Yeah.
So how do you make it work for you? First of all, I would always say to my clients that I work with is what is realistic to actually achieve? Because though that you want to have a long-term goal and you need it to be ambitious, the challenge can be, I want to achieve this next week. And it might be very unrealistic. It's like if I said to you, okay, you want to lose 2 stone in a week. It's ambitious, but is it realistic?
Well, I don't know. You tell me
No,
if
no,
I
no.
really want to. Yeah, no, yeah, absolutely. Well, what if I do say that? What if I say yes? I really want to get the maximum change in the first 2 weeks. Would you say, well, now hold on,
Okay.
let's make sure that's going to work for you long
Yeah.
term?
Yeah, because that's the biggest challenge it comes with the health and fitness industry in general is people are allowed to get away with saying, and when I say they, I mean like coaches and stuff like that, saying, do you know what? You can lose a stone a month. Now, it is possible to lose stone a month. I have clients who lose stone a month. However, that's because they have an understanding and an expectation that we're working towards losing a stone in a month, not that they're going to necessarily achieve that. There's a slight difference.
Okay.
Because there's a slight difference. Look, we're going to put everything in place so that you can achieve it, but there might be challenges along the way, things that you don't know that will happen. Life is full of times where things just crop up and we have no control over it. So I'm very positive with my clients, and I would say, look, cool, this is the way you can do it. Now I will say, given this is the way that you could do it and you could achieve it in a set time, do you think with all the steps you need to take, you could get it done? Because then they're now making it realistic. Ambition, yes, but it may not be realistic. And that's the case where I go, okay, well, let's just, with the expectations, let's manage them slightly. if you got that stone off in 6 weeks instead of 4 weeks, would you still be happy? 99 times out of 100, they say yes. Cool. Well, let's have a little bit of a flexible model then, which we're aiming for 4 weeks. But if it takes 6 weeks, we're still happy.
Right.
And then within that structure, I would just say for a month, I would break a week down and go, okay, let's look at each week. What is realistically achievable in terms of doing exercise? What is realistically achievable in terms of social occasions? Because if there's weddings, birthdays, that's going to have an effect on how quickly they achieve it. And then it comes down to, well, do they want to be within those social occasions, be present, in which case they're not going to be totally sort of focused on eating and drinking as they should? Or is it a case of, no, I am fully 100% committed. I'm doing this. And I'll just have to put up with the fact that there's a little bit of awkwardness or there's a little bit of a challenge on that day. So again, there's so many variables which come up. This is why I think it's always important to be realistic and break each week down into what can I actually achieve in this week? Because one week I could go to the gym twice a week, but next week, because I've got a much more clear calendar, I could go 4 times a week. But if you set your expectations at 4 times a week every week, and you know you have a week or 2 weeks you can't do that, that sets you up for feeling like you're a failure. And then within that process is like, how do you going to achieve each week? How do you manage the expectations if one week you don't quite achieve the weight loss?
Right.
So you could find that, like, just say like you want to lose a stone in a month, you could find week 1 you lose quite a lot, week 2 you lose very little,
Yeah.
week 3 you lose very little, week 4 you lose a lot. And it's not necessarily thing you've done wrong in those middle 2 weeks, it's just the way the body's reacting. Yeah, I think it also comes down to the overall goal of the person because most people focus on just for argument's sake when we're looking at fat loss or weight loss. I'm going to use them interchangeably.
Mm-hmm.
They look on the scales as their measurement of whether they're succeeding or not. Now, the problem, like I said, if you look at it and you've made little progress, you're going to be upset because you're putting all your hopes and dreams on numbers scale. So the way I always would reframe things for them is to go, look, we're not just about losing weight. What does losing weight give you? It gives you the ability to buy clothes that you used to be able to wear 10 years ago. So if you've got like an item of clothing which has been in your wardrobe or closet for 10 years, you've been looking at it, think, oh, I'm never going to get into it, or I really want to get into it, depending on how your frame of mind is. The metric of progress would be, right, every week, try it on and see how it feels. Is it better or worse than the previous week? Or if there's no change? Because I imagine that if you found an item of clothing which you go, I really want to get into that, and I would feel absolutely amazing. I would almost feel like 10 years younger because it was that time when you last wore it and you last felt confident in it. You suddenly get into that. Doesn't matter what the scales tell you.
That's true. That's true. That's a
So
that's a very, very specific feeling you can't reproduce by looking at a number on a scale.
and then that feeling of being like confident, totally motivated to keep on going on the journey, to try new things, to realize actually you can be successful. Now, the biggest problem comes with a lot of coaches go, well, oh, you've only lost half a pound this week. You're clearly not sticking to the diet. You're clearly not doing everything you should be doing. Why can't you do that? And then it's put back on the client. They go, they're a failure. Whereas actually, that might not be the ultimate goal. Yes, they'd love to lose the weight, but it's what losing that weight gives them is more important. So I'll tell you a story about one of my clients. She had a coach who basically told her to run up and down a sports hall. That was coach's way of helping my client lose weight. Then, when she couldn't stick to the diet plan, she was told, "Why can't you just stick to a diet plan?" It's that that it's not hard. Just eat less, and we're going to get you to move more, and you'll lose weight. But the problem with that was like one, she didn't want to run up and down a sports hall. Two, she felt self-conscious doing it.
Mm-hmm.
Three, the eating less part was just like she was hungry all the time. But then when she didn't achieve anything, it was all her fault.
Yeah.
And so what I did, and it can come across very controversial to start with, but I'm really open and honest and said, look, we're going to do something new. I just need you to trust me on this. We're not going to get you to run up and down a sports hall. We're going to get you to do things you want to do. You tell me what you want to do. Do you want to be doing weight? Do you want to be doing body weight exercises? Do you just want to go out for a walk?
Yeah.
Just tell me what you want to do, how you want to do it. Okay? Because in my view, exercise is not the most important thing. But what is important is they are doing some form of activity. So if they were out playing basketball, I say, well, go and play basketball 5 times a week or 3 times a week, however many times you can fit in, because at least then you're going to enjoy it. And if you're going to enjoy it, you'll do it more. And then you'll be happier about the whole process, just in terms of the exercise and activity. But the controversial thing I said to her, and I say this to all my new clients, is you're going to get it wrong sometimes.
Mm-hmm.
And it's okay. You're not going to be perfect. We're not aiming for perfect. We're aiming for somewhere around 80% perfect. So 80% of the time, yes, you have to be on it. But if there's times when it's birthdays, weddings, other social occasions, or just life gets in the way and you just need to have a little break, as long as it's not more than 20%, cool.
Mm-hmm.
And then on the side note of that, it's like, but I want you to focus initially on the really important things. One, how do your clothes feel? Because if you can feel that your clothes are feeling better, you're making progress. Are you sleeping better? Okay, well, that's a sign of progress. Do you have more energy during the day? Cool, that's a sign of progress.
Mm-hmm.
Do you generally feel better about yourself? Cool, that's a sign of progress. So recognize those signs of progress, and then it will happen because you'll feel better about yourself and you won't be caught up in the feeling of, I can't do this, I'm a failure.
Yeah.
Because you are going to make mistakes. Everyone will make mistakes. No one is perfect. And I never say, don't aim for perfection, aim for improvement.
Mm-hmm. And when you start breaking down by week, you're giving yourself the opportunity to reset too. So it feels like that, I could, if I can look at it by week, then we can that feels like, okay, over the course of a work week, well, I know on Monday I'm going to be maybe just a walk, so because I'm going to be thinking about things to do for Monday, so but maybe by Thursday I'll be ready for maybe a full body workout, maybe a trainer in the gym, when I have when I'm ready to put
Yeah.
time to it or attention to it.
Yeah. And then you start coming up with your own answers.
Mm-hmm.
Because you go.
Yes.
And then what's the ultimate thing of all of this? You have control.
Well, now that sounds great, but
Yeah,
that's
I
what
know.
it's, yeah, bringing up weddings and things that come in life that are going to present you with opportunities to drink and eat more, or you're going to be up later, or your schedule is going to change. So that just changes everything for that week or that weekend. But this also happens to business owners and coaches on a regular basis when we're going to conferences and traveling. So, and I don't want to
Okay.
call it a cheat day.
Yeah. Okay. Okay. Let's look at it from a very overview of a month.
Okay.
So this will make it a lot easier. So we're assuming that you'd have 3 meals a day,
Okay.
right? And we'll call it a 30-day month, just for the maths. So we're gonna have 90 meals in a month.
Okay.
Right, you're away for 2 days a month, right?
Right.
You have no control over the food to a certain degree. So maybe breakfast and maybe dinner, you don't have control in terms of what's on the menu and how it's cooked.
Mm-hmm.
But lunchtime, we'll assume because you're going to be out, you have a little bit more control. Yes?
Yeah.
Are we happy to say it? Okay, so let's just call that 4 meals out of 90 that you have no control out of in terms of what you're eating. You do the maths on that. What,
Yeah.
4%? No, not even 4%, 3%. 3% of the month you have no control in terms of the food.
Right. It sounds
What
kind
do
of
we
silly when I say it out loud to you, doesn't it? Like, well,
No, 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 no. But my point being is people then catastrophize the fact that they've had a day or two out and they've eaten foods which they know are bad. And I'm going to put that in inverted commas because I think you shouldn't label it bad. I don't think you should label it cheat days. But I think you should label it as, okay, I'm just going to have what's available because of the circumstances I'm in.
right. Well, that's why talking to you is, in my opinion, necessary. Get somebody on your side who has, a professional, objective view on what you are experiencing and what your
Yeah.
challenges are. Because I just said to you, well, I sounded like I said to you, I just don't know what I'm going to do. I have to go to a conference 2 times a month, and it's just going to screw everything up. And then you turned right around and said, well, okay, but it's 3%. Are you really? And so, that really puts things into perspective, doesn't it?
Yeah. Okay. And this is now where you can start to have a little bit more control of it. Once you realize that, you can still have a little bit of control of the food you eat. Because you can look at a menu and you can actually decide what is the healthier option in here. You have that choice. And with that, you can actually be asking for substitutions. So let's just take a typical meal. Let's say burger and chips, because that's a nice, easy, simple thing. Okay, well, we know from our past discussions that having processed carbs is not good. Chips, fries, they're processed.
Yeah.
So what could you have instead of the fries, which is healthier?
Let's hope that they have a side salad, a house salad.
Okay, so you asked for a salad instead. Okay, now the burger aspect. What's the most unhealthiest part of the burger on a fat adapted diet that we've talked about?
With the bun or fat on a fat adapted diet, the unhealthiest part of the burger.
The unhealthiest part of that.
Well, actually, I don't know because I just said the bun. If we're trying to concentrate on fat and getting calories from fat.
Yeah, okay. You're absolutely right. It's the bun. Okay, what could you do? There's two options, in my view, that you could do, which would be very simple for the restaurant to actually accommodate.
Well, if we're focusing on a fat adapted diet, then I don't want the bun.
That's gonna take something away, which is
So we
gonna
can
mean
add
it's not gonna,
cheese,
yeah, egg.
egg.
Add another burger on top of it.
Oh goodness, I wouldn't even think of that.
But you might probably, but do you think that something like a restaurant would accommodate that? Because how difficult would that be for them?
Mhm. Well, I mean, if they are fine with that, they would love to add on for you, but in most cases.
Yeah, but that's all you have to start doing is actually just say,
Mhm.
I'd just like to make some minor modifications to the meal if it's possible.
You know what? I have a friend who keeps every time we talk about diet changes, she has a motto that is, let's think about what to add rather than what to take away. Now, obviously, we're taking the bun away, but psychologically, if we add more things in that we want, then by default, you might start throwing things to the side that you don't need.
Yeah. But it's all about firstly just asking
Asking.
because we as humans just assume, oh, that's what's on the menu, that's what we all we can get.
Right. Now that's true. Some of us feel like we don't want to appear to be an inconvenience. We don't want to feel you know, uh, like we're being a stereotypical pain in the butt, the one who's asking for special
Yeah.
substitutions. Does it look weird in a social setting?
Yeah. And that now leads nicely
Yeah.
on to the social aspect of things. So yes, so what I've had in the past is I've trained someone and their partner's been unhappy with the changes which are being made. So someone's gone, enough, I am done, I am not going to be like this no more. It's time to get on a diet and exercise regime. Now the partner's like, that's not for me, kind of thing. Don't want to be involved in that at all. That can cause conflict.
Yeah.
One wants to change, the other one's happy with the status quo.
Or, I think I would say probably in a lot of situations you will have a partner who wants to support you.
Yeah.
But maybe, and I've heard this story a couple of times, and for both men and women, but one thing is easier for one person than the other, right?
Mm.
So yeah, sure. Well, I'll stop
Yeah.
eating, processed carbs with you, and we'll start getting healthier. And maybe your partner doesn't have to do exactly the same thing you're doing. I probably wouldn't think that's a great
Yeah.
idea anyway. But you're both, I'm working really hard. I'm sticking to a plan, and my partner seems to, just he's only cutting out one bowl of cereal and is
Mm.
just dropping weight. And how do I mentally help
Yeah.
myself not get wrapped around that?
Wow. Wow, that's a can of worms you've opened there.
Well,
Um,
we can pretend I didn't ask you that and,
no,
and
no,
stay
I
on
will come.
track.
I will come back to that because I think
Okay.
that's a very important.
Yeah.
What I want to actually go over is the psychological aspect of when someone wants to make a change.
Yeah.
Oh, let's just say let's just say we hang out. I'll put this in an analogy. We're hanging out all the time. Suddenly, I get into a relationship and I spend more time in the new relationship.
Yeah.
Now, I inadvertently caused a change on yourself. Now, we don't like change, most of us, unless it's us that's initiated that change.
Hmm.
So by me changing my habits and I inflict that change upon you, you could become resentful.
Right.
So it's because now when you've got two partners that want to have the same goal, so they both go, do you know what? I want to lose weight. I want to be performing better. That's great because that can work very well because you're on the same page. You're making the changes and you're doing it together. That keeps you accountable for one, but it just feels there's someone that's morally supporting the goal. So when one kind of slips off a little bit, the other one's there to come on, let's go, let's get back on it.
Yeah.
You have a goal. So there is that aspect of it.
Yeah.
So, but when you don't have that support, it's about really communicating. Look, I'm unhappy. I don't want to be overweight. I don't want to feel like I've got no confidence. I don't want to feel terrible in these clothes. I need to make this change and I need your support for it.
Right. That you're asking.
You're
not
asking.
demanding.
Yeah. Key thing is like, don't demand like, right, you must change with me.
Yeah.
Well, not many people would like that.
Right.
But what you could do is you could actually inspire the other person to then start making some changes. They don't necessarily be the same changes, but it's like, oh wow, yeah, I can see how that would benefit us both. Or I can see if I make some changes, how I would benefit.
Mm-hmm.
So it's about, yeah, communication is like the key thing, and just being really like, this is why I want to do it.
Right.
Having open conversation, and I think you've got so much emotion behind it. Then what is emotion? If you ask yourself, what is emotion in your view?
Uh, and what is emotion? In
What would
this
you describe
situation,
emotion?
it's an energy. It's a
Energy, emotion,
yeah.
emotion. So the more of that you have, you're either going to be running away from pain or running towards pleasure.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
A typical carrot mistake. You probably need a bit of both, but more than likely, it's going to be the stick. We don't want to be in pain,
Mm-hmm.
but that also leads to another interesting concept of if you've never done it before, then let's just say you have decided after so many years to make a massive change, but you've never had the experience of trying it, you've got something unfamiliar.
Mm-hmm.
What do we do when we have a lot of unfamiliar feelings?
Look for comfort.
Look for comfort. Okay, so we look for what we know,
Yeah.
which interestingly, people would rather stay in familiar hell than look for and seek unfamiliar heaven.
Mm-hmm.
When you look at it like that, you'll see why certain things happen in life with certain people,
Mm-hmm.
why they don't just make those changes. But if it's all they've known, and then suddenly you're asking them to seek the unknown,
Mm-hmm.
there's that fear of the unknown.
Or at a, I asked you about social settings and changing your habits or for yourself, and then now dealing with those changes in social settings. Or if you feel like you're the person at the table who's got the special diet, what do you say to me if I feel like it's socially awkward? Um, is that a thing of the past? Am I just overthinking it? Doesn't everybody have a special diet now?
Yeah, so you said the word overthinking.
Mm-hmm.
That's probably the key thing there.
Mm-hmm.
Some of us don't want to be an inconvenience. And therefore we'll just kind of like just sit in the corner and just be quiet and just get what we're given.
Right.
Whereas you got other people who are more confident who go, no, 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 I'm doing this. I'm going to ask for it and I will get it.
Yes. Have you ever been at a dinner table in that situation and you find that somebody else sitting next to you was feeling shy and insecure, and then all of a sudden they say, "You know what? I'm gonna have what you're having."
Yeah, no, that's happened quite a lot. But when people feel like they have an indecision, so they can see something on the menu, go, I should have this, but I know if I ask for this, people are going to look at me. Typical things like when you go on holiday. If you've ever been on holiday with a load of friends,
Mhm.
and the typical things you have, it's not necessarily the healthiest things. But you've got that dilemma. You choose between what you know you want and should have, or potentially be judged by your friends because they're having something completely different. Now, we create a scenario of fear, if you want to call it that, of being judged or whatever it might feel. It's just like something which goes, I don't know, because this is the first time I've ever had to experience this. I'm not sure how this scenario is going to play out. What do we naturally do? We make it worse in our head than it actually will be in reality. You know, no one likes to be judged or feel like they're different. You know, and they love it, especially in a group setting. But actually, if you have the confidence, go, no, I'm going to have that. And then, yeah, you might get the odd joke, but realistically, it's going to be less intense than what you thought it would be. So it's about having that confidence. Just go, I'm having that because A, I want it, and B, it works for me in terms of what I'm trying to achieve.
Okay.
But here's the thing, a lovely 4-word phrase you can say every single time if you feel that someone is overly judging you. And it goes, thank you for sharing. Because you're not being rude, but you're acknowledging the comment, but you're not allowing that conversation to go any further.
Yeah.
And again, I've given this to my clients to use in their workplace. Surprisingly, they feel a lot more confident after the first time I've said it. Because they
Yeah.
realize that, oh, nothing bad is going to happen. Yeah, and in terms of products, generally speaking, probably omega-3. We probably don't get enough omega-3 in our diet. Multivitamin, definitely. I mean, those are the two that I take regularly and that I would recommend all my clients to have regularly, just because it just tops up what they may be lacking. Yes, so I have a membership site which has just been opened for my clients, and I'm going to be extending that out to the world. It's a 2-phase membership option. There's the one-to-one. So if you're someone that really wants to get quick results or say quicker, and you get more personalized coaching, then there's that option. But there's also going to be a membership only option, which is learn what you need to learn and apply it to yourself with a little bit of coaching for myself, i.e. like in group calls. Yeah, so what I'd always suggest is before you sign up to anything, have a talk first. Because the most important thing, certainly from my perspective, is I want to make sure that what you're signing up for is what you want and what you need. Because, but most importantly, I need to get to know you better. Because I can't just say, hey, this is the right thing for you. I would rather have a 40-minute chat with you and go, okay, what's your biggest challenges? What's stopping you achieving this by yourself? Because then I can kind of guide you to where you need. Because if you're someone who's self-motivated and just needs the information and you can go do it, well, you're going to choose the membership side. If you're someone who actually, I need personalized coaching because I need to be able to check in with you every week, well, you're going to go down the personalized route.
Yeah.
So that's why I think it's always important to have a call. So the way I always look at it is you're building the know, the like, and more importantly, the trust before you do anything else.
So your membership site and your one-on-one coaching are really easy to find by just going to your profile, your business page, LinkedIn, Instagram, your coach_J_Bryant on Instagram. And John Bryant, Online Human Mechanic, is your profile line on LinkedIn. Yeah. So are those good ways to chat with you?
Look, questions you or anyone else watching this has off the back of this, feel free to ask me. Thank you so much for having me today.
Thank you so much for joining me today. My name's Elizabeth, coming to you from the Walker Consulting Work Studio in Floyd, Virginia. This has been an episode of Dear Business Coach.